as a product. And I have my own experience where I have seen very big names in the market. Their representative, they come to market, they come to the normal grain market, buy pulses or other stuff from there, and we know eventually it ends up packaging in a very good organic labeled packs. So it's happening, but consumer, I think it's more a consumer have to play their own role in identifying the organic product or producer. And something is coming to my mind from again from America. There is a model of community supported agriculture. So do search something on Google or YouTube that how customer supported agriculture, they call it a CSA, a big program in US. It is actually helping the farmer who are doing some ethical practices. So they normally subscribe everything in advance. That if you are buying, say a desi cow and a sahiwal cow, so I'm a regular. I am going to subscribe milk for 6 months. Then farmer is rest assured, so he can continue, focusing on what is actually he's supposed to do in organic farming. But we don't have a. I don't think there we have a matured market. This term is used by many research paper related to supply chain. Supply chain. If we have a matured market which can facilitate the genuine buyer, I think people will switch to organic farming, and not only organic, but there are other forms of sustainable way of farming, such as good agriculture practices, natural farming. So they can switch easily if market is there and on a regular basis.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Kirit and I am from NIT Jalandhar. Right now I'm studying civil engineering. So my question is, I read an article few days ago. I've also shared it in the chat. So it is a startup based about like the quality assessment at Artiyas at the mandis is a very subjective type of assessment. Like any Artiya, even if he has a fight over previous installments of money with a farmer, he can say that your quality is not good without any basis, uh, without any objective assessment. So he has
Mhm.
made an AI app and which objectively assesses the produce at any time at any place. So is it practically viable in Indian market? Do you think so? Objective assessment of produce through app.
I think it is viable as long as it is not going for the government procurement. Because problems start when we start depending on government procurement, because practically there are different problems with RTRs and why they actually reject. I was, in fact, today only I was watching on news. There was one similar report from Faridabad in Haryana, and Artiya actually he was complaining in a media that one supervisor from FCI he is demanding 5 rupees per bag or something in bribe to accept the lot. So see, it is a problem in if quality is related to a market link player. If we are not dealing with the bureaucratic setup, and there is a buyer and there is a supplier, and there is technology can play its own role. Technology objectively can tell us that what is the moisture level, what is the grain size, and what are the parameters if it actually comply with that quality standard. But in government procurement, in spite of the fact that if technology is declaring a product acceptable or not worth acceptable, there are other issues. You know, they because it is going for the government procurement, and there are decision maker who have vested interest. So they generally don't allow technology to penetrate in their area. You come from Punjab. I suppose you are very familiar with the mandis in Punjab and Haryana. For
Yes,
last
sir.
10 years, farmers they are demanding that why don't we have electronic weighing scale in the mandis. Still we have those different kind of weighing scale, or I am I'm not even able to, uh, uh, check that how much, what is the methodology of, weighing on those weighing scale. If we have a better technology, uh, uh, now weighing electronic digital weighing scale, they are everywhere. You go to grocery shop, you go to any place, so there is a weighing scale, but not in the Mondays. You know why? So if if those old style weighing scale, they are replaced with a digital weighing scale, every bag, on behind every bag, they are, over weighing 1 or 2 kg of wheat or rice. Look at the figure. We generally procure 170 lakh of metric ton food grain in Punjab and Haryana. So 1 and 2 small amount of grain after every bag, it is a huge volume. So I hope you can differentiate between both the things. If it is a private, you are dealing with a private buyer or private sector linked to the market, wonderful. I mean, technology can assess, and it will be acceptable and binding on both the parties. But in government system, if the example you mentioned, technology will not be welcomed and easily taken by the person who have vested interest in keeping the things muddled.
Okay, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. So I'm Vishu Chauhan from Thapa Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala. Sir, I've been working in an organization which helps in implementing and developing new techniques and technology in the farming sector. But one of the major issues that we are facing is that we are not able to gain the trust of the farmers, by which they are not implementing these techniques and technologies. So how we can cater this problem?
Hi Vishnu, I am from Patiala. So I think in Patiala you should not get any problem like this. See, farmers, I think they are cheated in a so many times and a different way, that it is very difficult for them to trust anyone, irrespective of. I mean, sometimes they can't even differentiate that what kind of background you are coming from, which institute you are coming from. So they consider everyone, with the same impression that you are coming with something in your own, with your for your own interest. It happens, we have, we have our own advantage that we come from farming community. We have a confidence already built up. But for anyone who is coming to farmer, so generally they are not accommodated well. I know this, and reason are, as I said, past, in past uh, they have seen very bad examples. So I should not go into detail in explaining what has happened, but uh, this is for sure that if you are able to gain the farmers trust just for one, then the whole village and the whole community, they will follow you, provided you are able to show some tangible benefits to them. So this is my, uh, example, as simple as that, that it is initially it is difficult, but if we are able to gain their confidence in one way or other, then it is not as difficult.
And so the other thing was that through surveys we came to know that most of the lands were
I'm
not
from NIT.
the
Our question
farmers
is,
working on that land.
Yeah, yeah,
Abhishek,
Vishnu,
calm
you can
down.
complete.
As somebody's asking
Yes,
another
yes.
question.
Vishnu,
So
you
the
can
other
continue.
problem, yes. So the other problem was that the land, most of the lands were not occupied by the farmers that are working on the land, but was occupied with someone who is not in that particular area of Punjab or Haryana, and is shifted to some other place.
Oh
So,
yes.
so there was also a problem of getting the permission to implement these things. So how to cater
Yeah,
with that?
Richi. So in Punjab, we call it a reverse tendency. So farmers, especially, this problem is more, in fact, prevalent in Malwa region, which is Bathinda, Muxar, where farmers, they have large land holdings. And normally, if you go to those areas, you will find that actual owner, he's putting up in Chandigarh, and someone from village, he is doing the farming. And if you require any document, it will belong to the actual farmer who comes just once in a month to the farm. Or this becomes a problem. And in fact, we foresee this trend as a opportunity, in a way that in a time to come, this month, this last month, in fact, the rent of land, they have come down by 5 or 6 thousand in many part of the region, and you can relate this situation uh, to various factors. One is, of course, people have incurred losses in the recent past. Number two, government of India, they have actually now started, paying for wheat and rice directly to the actual farmers' account. So uh, those who are working as a crop sharer, or those who take land on rent, so they will decrease in the time to come, and farmer producer company and farmer cooperative, they will come into a picture. So your problem is quite relevant in current scenario, no doubt about that. So ultimately you can get hold of actual owner by through phone call, or it is always difficult, I know, but there is no other way out. And this is not only problem to you, this is the problem for government of India as well. That's why there was a lot of discussion going on, that whom to pay, through Aarti or directly to the farmer, because they don't know who actually farmer is and who is doing the farming.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Puneet, thanks a lot. Actually, since it is a time bound and on YouTube Live,
I know.
your session is already there. So now I would like to invite Mano, and very thank you, Puneet. Like you have really tinkered the students' mind, like where they need to focus and how they, the students who are working, who are in the best of the engineering colleges, how they can even if they start doing something for the farmers, they can contribute a lot to our country. So I think your
No, guys,
inputs
you
are
have
very
to,
vital.
because ultimately my last bottom line is that we depend on gems like you. Come, see, I was here just to explain what problems we are facing, and the solution lies with you guys. So come up with a lot of solution and keep asking about us about the problems. We are good at it. We are good at telling the problems, and we look solution from you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Puneet. Puneet, I will also request if you can stay for Manoj's presentation. You will also. Yeah,
I am
fine.
very much here.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Puneet. Thank you. So here I invite Mano to please. Dharminder, can you make Mano, Mr. Raj Manohar? Sorry, Mano. Actually, he's my friend from IIT Kanpur. So I used to tell his name as Mano. So can you ask Mr. Raj to? Can you make Mr. Raj presenter, please? Yeah.
Yes, I done.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Raj Manohar, you are welcome, please.
Thank you, Dheeraj bhai. Uh, you can call me Mano. So for the people who are not very acquainted with me, they call me Raj. So let me just open the presentation that I have. So I have a very short presentation. So just give me a moment. Let me open this up. Okay. So can you see this slide?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay. Okay, great. So guys, my name is Raja Manohar. I am CEO of AquaConnect, a startup that works with fish and shrimp farmers in India to improve their productivity, to improve their financial access, and also we are improving the market and connectivity for them so that reduce and get higher revenues from the aquaculture activity. So, fisheries is something like a kind not a very familiar topic with most of us. For me, even until 2016, it was not a very familiar topic. So, like most of us would have come from an agrarian family. Someone from our family would have had some farmland and they would be doing some farming activity. But like if we talk about fisheries, the percentage of even your first degree, second degree, third degree connection would be very limited. So like I'm just gonna demystify a couple of assumptions that we may have had previously. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, very well,
Yes,
very well.
yes.
Okay, sounds great. So so the like on contrary to the common belief, just like India is one of the largest producer of fishes and shrimps. So these fishes and shrimps, they come from high seas, like that is called marine cod. And we also produce them in ponds like this. So in this image, you would have seen lots of ponds here. So these are the shrimp ponds where they grow the prawn, or you may call it prawn or shrimp, zinga. So this is how it's been called. So my company works with aquaculture farmer. So aquaculture is commonly known as growing the aquatic animal in the land-based ponds or marine cages. So in India, largely we do land-based ponds. So these ponds are like something like 1 acre in area and 5 to 6 feet in deep. So in this ponds, the farmers, they bring the baby shrimps. We call it post larvae. Or if in case of fishes, they bring in the fingerlings, the small fishes, and they grow them for certain period of time so that they can grow and gain weight. And finally, they kind of harvest it and take it to the market. So let's talk about how big it is. So my idea is not to, take you too much into the numbers. So I just want to, give you a sensitivity that like this is a very big industry, and this we are not talking about it like as it should be spoken in other countries. Imagine we have got a very, very long coastline, but nobody is even talking about ocean economy. When we talk about ocean economy, we are talking about, producing fishes and shrimps, aquaculture, or building shipping industry, something like that. So we're not very, very familiar with those concepts. Unlike on the contrary to the common beliefs, we are one of the largest seafood producers in the world. So just next to China, I would say. We are the second largest producer of fishes. We produce close to 14 million metric ton of fish every year. And we are the largest exporter of frozen shrimp. That is, the prawn that you may call. So imagine the kind of an opportunity that we have in the global market. So further, so this sector is, these are some numbers that shows like we will be, touching upon $10 billion in exports. So that $10 billion is nothing but 70,000 crores we will be earning by just exporting shrimp. So imagine the kind of, opportunity that we have in the international market. And 20% of our agri export value is coming from aquaculture. So that is 1/5 of agri export value is coming from this sector, but we haven't heard about this sector very often. So that is the reason why Dheeraj Bhai is, has asked me to, speak about Indian fisheries sector. So to further expand this, before expanding this further, I would like to, make a distinction of this, fisheries sector. There is a wild caught fisheries sector where people like fishermen, they go, they kind of catch and then bring it to the dock. So that's one sector. And there is another sector which is kind of identical to farm sector. Like you are growing paddy, like you are growing wheat, you are also growing fish and shrimp, right? So we largely work with the farm sector, that is like aquaculture sector, wherein we help farmers on the knowledge share, how to do it scientifically and how to access, the inputs in a very low cost, and how to access farm loans, and finally how to, sell their produces to the markets as well. So why aquaculture is something like also that we need to, focus on. So we have been overfishing for, centuries after centuries. So we kind of depleted our oceans already, and we continue to do that. But the catch is not like the marine catch is kind of declining. as we speak. And there is a protein demand that we need to meet, because we have got about 7 to 8 billion populations that needs to be fed with high quality protein. So this protein comes from the meat industry, and that is why it is important. And why fish and why fisheries has to be taken very seriously here is, we call a kind of an index called feed conversion ratio. So feed conversion ratio is nothing but we give like 1 kilogram of to get like 1 kilogram of some meat, you will be feeding in 1.x, 1.1 or 1.2, that kind of a 1 plus x feed to the animal. So for to get a 1 kilo of beef, say one has to feed that animal 5 kilo of feed. So imagine the kind of impact, environmental impact, that it would have to create 1 kilogram of beef. And for pork, it would be about 2.7 times. For poultry, that is for chicken, it is about 2 times. To get 1 kilo chicken, you need to feed the animal 2 times. When it comes to aquaculture, producing fish or shrimp, it is just 1 is to 1.2, if we can optimally do this. So that reduces a lot of stress in the environmental thing. You produce less feed, but you get more protein from fish. So that is why aquaculture is gaining importance in sustainable protein production ecosystem. And this also has got impact on positive impact on ocean. When you are growing fish and shrimp and not catching it from the ocean, so you are also stopping overfishing, so that you are saving the oceans from the depletion. So that is one reason why we are kind of advocating aquaculture. You grow fish and shrimp. So to give you a kind of a graphical illustration how this pond look like. So typically here you can see a farm worker, and you might be seeing couple of the gadgets lying around. So they are called aerators. So what happens is, like you are growing fish or shrimp in this pond, when you are like producing these commercially, so the density of those animals in this water would be higher than the natural one. So if it is a natural pond or ocean, they will be getting the oxygen from the water, because like the density, they would be like spread across the ocean, spread across the pond. It is not commercially intensive. But when you are bringing them in an intensive pond, there are 4 or 5 factors that you need to get into pay attention to. So their water is just like our oxygen, right? So it is that important that you need to do the water culture first. So water culture is nothing but, there are about 16, 17 parameters in the water, like dissolved oxygen, ammonia, nitrate, nitrite, salinity, alkalinity. So these factors have to be conducive for the growth of the animal. So the first thing is, you need to keep the water quality really well. And the second part, you need to feed them. Like I told you about FCR, right? Feed conversion ratio. So that you need to upkeep. And finally, you need to upkeep the health of the animal also. What if they get some kind of a disease? So these are the factors that is kind of defining success or a failure of a farmer. So before I get into detail, I would like to tell you a small story about how I got into this first. Because I told you, like, until 2016, I wasn't into aquaculture. I know nothing about this sector, right? So right after IT, I went to work for a technology company, and I was into internet banking, then mobile banking. Then I started my own startup in 2007, and I ran that company for about like 9 years. And I was largely into tech sector, like IT, I would say, right? So it was a serendipitous meeting that led me to learn more about this sector, and now we are contributing to it, right? So back in 2016, I was in a train heading to my hometown. So that's when I got to meet aquaculture farmer who was a shrimp farmer. So that's when I got to understand more about like, first thing, how big this industry, I didn't know, right? Like I didn't know fisheries is such a big industry by then. So I came to understand that every year we kind of export close to 50,000 crore worth shrimp. And that is coming from 4 or 5 major states from India, like Andhra, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, and West Bengal. So these are the places where the shrimp aquaculture is really popular, right? So that's how I got to understand more about problems of these farmers. I found I found that the farmers are failing to gain more from their farming activity just because they are not actually following the scientific farming practices. Scientific farming practices is not high tech that I'm talking here. I'm talking about upkeeping the water quality, right? That is one important thing. And then you need to efficiently managing your feeding also. Right now, you will see a guy is, throwing the feed everywhere. What happens to the, fishes or shrimp that is in the middle of the pond? Right? So it doesn't get its feed. So one animal grows faster and one animal is not like, growing at all. So like there needs to be a kind of a mechanization that needs to happen in the farms, and then farmers need to get a scientific advisory. So these are some of the, problems that we had identified. So in my perspective, the biggest impediment for any development is one, lack of data, and lack of data-driven decision-making capabilities. So these two things, right? So the moment you get the data, you would be able to, get the insights, and based on the insights, you would be able to, create a decision-making system for it, right? So that's what is actually missing here. Unlike agriculture, so agriculture, have got a 10 years ahead window of aquaculture. So 10 years ago, nobody talked about agri-tech, but right now agri-tech is one of the hottest space. But aquaculture is yet to get there. So we are one of the pioneers who have been like starting to provide scientific advisory to the farmers, and we are suggesting data-driven advisory services to the farmers, right? So I will now talk about like what is the kind of a technology adoption that we have in the farms right now. So our technology adoption in the farm is like abysmal, like very, 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 very low. So what we are trying to do is like only two things that you can, see in most advanced farms in India. One, aerators. So aerators are nothing but they improve the kind of an equipment that improves the dissolved oxygen level in the water, so that like fishes and shrimps can take the dissolved oxygen from the water, right? So they kind of keep throwing the water, and then they would be like enabling oxygenation of the water. And the second one, as I told you, like there was a guy who was throwing a feed, right? So that has been automated. So there are certain machines like they are having like controllers, so that like in the regular interval they can throw the feed into the water. So these are the kind of advancements that have happened in India, in spite of this industry being here for about 3 decades, 30 years, and this is earning billions of foreign exchange, right? And a small side story. So what happened is I got interested in aquaculture right after the train story. And I got, an opportunity to go to Norway. So Norway is one of the, Scandinavian countries that has a huge focus on ocean economy. So they talk about the three ocean economy things. One is aquaculture. So they are one of the largest producer of salmon fish, which is like a very, very, very high premium priced salmon fishes. And they go for, oil drilling in the middle of the sea. And also they are huge in shipping and shipbuilding industry, right? So I wanted to, go there to learn more about salmon aquaculture industry. So this is one of the marine platform where I had visited there. So if you talk about their technology adoption, it's kind of, mind-boggling. Um, they have technology adoption across the value chain. So when I say across the value chain, so typically in any food production ecosystem, whether you talk about agri or you talk about fisheries, there is a upstream and midstream and the downstream. So when I say upstream, it is the farms where they kind of produce the fishes or shrimp. The midstream is something like kind of an exchange where they would, take the produce and sell it to the buyers. And downstream is processing, right? You buy the fish and you cut it in different products. Like in overseas nations, the fillet is very popular. They don't eat fish with the bone, so they kind of take off the flesh and they kind of sell it in a premium prices, right? So when I talk about innovation in Norway or any other Scandinavian country, they have put in ocean clusters. So ocean clusters are something like our innovation centers in schools and colleges. You would have these innovation centers right now, right? Like accelerators, incubators. So they have a very specific sector specific ocean clusters. So that is where I was housed for a couple of months. So I went there. I kind of tried to learn what kind of technology adoption that they have got, to give you a kind of sense of that technology adoption there. So salmons usually, get lice problem. Lice is nothing but kind of it kind of gets attached to the skin of the salmon and it start eating the salmon, right? So it is a disease that causes. So they have now got a laser shooting machine underwater to kill the lice. So each of these, laser shooting laser guns would be, about $500,000, about 3 to 4 crore rupees, right? So that is the kind of a sophistication that they have reached. Whereas what we have in India is still this, like, improving the oxygenation or like controlling the feed. So I'm not, downgrading ourselves. All I'm trying to say here is there is a lot of room for us to, come up with new solutions. And what we have done, so I'll just talk about like what our business does in 1 or 2 slides. So to improve this sector, so to improve the aquaculture sector, we need to talk about resilience production. So we need to improve the production technology adoption in the production area, that is upstream in the farms, and we also need to use this data to be able to provide credit access to the farmers. So far, the farmers are not able to access the bank credits. They are going to the middleman. They are borrowing money at a much higher interest rate. So imagine if the farmers have got some kind of a data backing that I have done farming for this many years, and this has been my production, and this has been my profit volume. Look at my banking transactions and everything, so that it actually makes farmers credit worthy. And finally, with the data that we have at the production, we would be able to easily connect them with the marketplace. So I'm kind of again and again emphasizing on technology adoption here, as well as data-driven decision-making capabilities. So that is how we will be able to, maximize the per acre productivity in aquaculture sector. So I wouldn't, confuse you too much with this diagram. All we are trying to do here is like, so we are helping farmers with a simple mobile application. So with this mobile application, they would be able to key in all the parameters that they are collecting in the farm, right? And also with this, they would be able to get a whatever data that they are inputting. Based on that, they would be getting the advice in a simple mobile application. They don't need any other device. And also we are using satellite remote sensing to kind of get a macro level analytics of how this region is performing, right? So with this, what we are able to do is we are able to collate the data, and this data would have lot of meaningful insights, and that can be used for several use cases that could improve the farmer's life. One, that could improve the whole sectoral growth as well. And not but not the least, traceability is also gaining a lot of importance. So this traceability, to enable traceability, Punit would also agree with me that you need data to back it up, right? So we are finding innovative ways of getting data from the farmers and then providing insights to them. So I would just skip this. So this is to, explain like what are the, technology adoption at the processing side of the business as well. Still, we are doing, handmade processing, and it takes a lot of time and it is very laborious, as well as um, like it kind of stumbles upon on that, growth perspective. So that is when we need to, look into how do we actually able to, process improvement through mechanizations. So I talked about, the production side challenges. The production side challenges are something like, how do I improve the, per acre yield? How do I, get the, working capital with low interest? And where is my market? And in the processing side, we need to talk about how efficiently we can process, how efficiently we can get more meat from the fish or shrimp. So these are some of the opportunity areas that I would like to present it to you, because you guys are students and I don't want to talk much more about numbers and going much detail into the how the culture is done and everything. So I'm just kind of giving you a 30,000 feet overview about the opportunities here, and with that I would like to, close my presentation. And I wanted to keep this as a very interactive session, right? Because um, nobody would have talked about fisheries before, and it's too much for many of you to, comprehend as well. So I would like to, open up for the questions. And there is one interesting thing that I wanted to, present it to you. Somebody had asked Puneet about like technology adoption, like why farmers are not kind of adopting new technologies. So I will just, present another slide to you. Just give me a moment. Uh, Dheeraj, am I on time?
Oh no, yeah, you have plenty of time. You have 30 minutes to talk with students, I think, and Puneet also together. I think it will be a wonderful
Right.
stage for the
I
students.
I would be happy to, bring Puneet also in some of the points so that like we can, put a, combined show on that. So I'm kind of
Just a minute, Raj. Dharminder, can you unmute Puneet? I think somehow he's not able to unmute himself. I think Dharminder is our host, my PhD student, so he has been put on this task. So,
sure.
uh,
So
Dharminder,
actually, Dheeraj, can I go ahead?
yeah, please.
Okay. So see, I come from I told you, right? I come from a different industry to aquaculture industry. So before aquaculture, like I was running this company called Hexolab. So so we were providing value-added services to the Indian consumers, right? So to sell anything in India, so you need A, B, C. So this is a success mantra, okay, in that line of business. So A stands for astrology, and B stands for Bollywood, and C stands for cricket. So all I tell, like whenever these kind of an adoption question comes, right? So I bring up this, slide. So we need to learn something from these sectors, how they are kind of, selling their ideas to the consumers. So astrology is still selling, right? And Bollywood is still selling, and cricket, whenever, like in all the channels, they're kind of, try to, reach out to you, and they are selling their ideas. And one thing is, there are ways you could actually do that. India is a very complex country, right? So even you have got Google Maps, but still you would stop by and ask someone like bystanding guy, and how do I go there, right? How many of you have witnessed this? You still do that, right? So it is that, though you have kind of a technology interface, you would still need someone to reaffirm that thought, right? So this is when I say that you have technology, but you still need some hand holding to be done. You cannot just, ask someone use, Alexa. No, it's not going to work like that here. You need a face. So that is why even I insisted some of you guys to, turn on your videos, because I like seeing you and speaking, right? So this is one thing. So
Dharmendra, can you allow the students to switch on their videos and mics also?
no problem, no problem, Dheeraj. Like, this is just to, to get across the point.
We are just
Um,
enabling that. We are just enabling that.
right, right. So I'm saying, like, there needs to be a human angle to the technology also for Indians or any other emerging market. And the second point, though we are like one country, like the whole Europe put together, we speak different languages, we look different, and our cultural preferences, food preferences are different. So it has to be customized for that region, right? So that needs to be done. You cannot just offer English and, you kind of leave the audience to figure that out. I'm talking about farmers here, audience. And also, we need to talk about, shared economy. How about, like, one testing probe is costing 20,000 rupees, which a farmer cannot afford. So how about creating models where, like, that one probe, goes across 100 farmers in regular intervals. So that is what Uber and Ola has done, right? Some 20 years ago, if you want to, hire a cab, you need to pay 3,000 rupees per day so that the driver stays with you for a whole day, right? But now you don't have to. You can give him 70 rupees. He will drop you from point A to point B. If you want to, come back, you again book a cab. He will, take you from B to A. So that way, your cost of ownership comes down so that you would be able to efficiently sell technologies and ideas to the farmers. So the biggest beneficiary of such a thing is something like telecom technologies. So the mobile internet has penetrated our society like no other technology. Like no other technology was able to penetrate as fast as mobile internet. So that was possible only when we kind of took the example from a different domain. So if you walk into the aisle of a US supermarket or any other Western supermarket, you will find the shampoo bottles like 2 liters, like 3 liters. So this big shampoo bottles you will find. But when they launched that in India, it never sold like that. Nobody bought a shampoo. And what they had to understand was you need to put it in a sachet, like small packets. So this is when the audience have started. It's kind of a trial pack, right? You buy this, and then eventually like it, you'll be able to take it forward. But given the demography of India, everyone wants to buy it at then and there when they want it, rather than buying it and storing it. So that is why this kind of a sachet kind of a concept has taken prominence in FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, and that came to mobile internet penetration. So we started offering not like 300 rupees internet package, we started offering 5 rupees package, 10 rupees package. So I'm giving you this example to give you a clarity how agri-technology can be sold to farmers. This is what exactly we are also trying to do. So we are offering our technology advisory service free. And with the data, we are leveraging that data to be able to provide inputs to the farmers, to be able to provide credit to the farmer, and also we are providing market linkage to the farmers. So with that, I will actually open the floor for further questions. And I hope Puneet also would be able to, join me answering some of the questions.
Yes. Um,
Yeah, students, you are able to unmute yourself. You can ask questions if you want to.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, please introduce.
Sir.
Okay, you can go.
Good evening, sir. My name is Sai Praveen, and I am from BV Raju Institute of Technology. And I would like to ask you one question regarding farming and fishing. Like most of the people, they don't have much technological awareness, so that they are not able to incorporate the latest technologies such as robotics and IoT, and to improvise the farming. So can you suggest any measures for training or educating the farmers so that they can produce the crops or produce the number of fishes more efficiently, and they can increase the throughput?
Sure. So should I call you Venkat? Is that fine?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Thank
You can call me Sai Praveen too.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that question. So, see, you were talking about robotics and you were talking about artificial intelligence. So these are the jargons that we understand really well as an engineers, right? Um, so if you talk about Zoom or Google Meetup or any other Google search also, they use artificial intelligence in a way that the consumer don't even know, right? So any app that you are using is using a bit of artificial intelligence. Even a Zoom app that understands like what is your background and how can you change the background, right? But the end user need not know about it, right? The end user is looking for a solution. For a farmer is looking for solution. What solution? He wants to earn more money from his farm, right? So the means to do that is getting the right advice and getting the right financing. That is like the local dealer is offering him 36% interest, whereas like the banks can offer him 8% interest. How can he access that, right? And also he needs to find a market where they will give them more price for the produce. These are the farmers' problem, right? Not artificial intelligence or robotics. So those are the problems are ours. How are we going to incorporate? Whether it is required or not is a question. The first question is whether it's required or not. So in my opinion, yes, they are required in at moderation, because there is a affordability issue also, right? The farmer should be able to afford these technologies too. So my advice is, please look into the please put yourself into the shoes of a farmer, that why he needs to use artificial intelligence, why he needs to use robotics. His concerns are 3 or 4 that we need to address as an engineers or a businessman. So I would try to focus more on solution than technology. But technology is an enabler. I would agree on that point.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sir,
Sir,
good
this
evening,
is
sir.
Karthik
My
Kumaran
name is
from
Anil
Central Electrochemical Research Institute.
from BVRIT.
Sir, now
Sir,
hydroponics is very popular and people are suggesting to grow, produce fish and agriculture produce on the same. Okay. I wanted to know if it affects fish production or it aids its production and the viability of hydroponics in India.
See, hydroponics is an upcoming, concept in India. So we have seen, some pilot projects that are happening, and that too only for the vegetable or vegetable or the green production. So I have seen couple of facilities in and around Chennai, and there must be there in Hyderabad and other parts of the India also, but I haven't witnessed any facility that have got a green plus fish production so far. But in my view, that contribution would be very, 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 very minuscule, even if it takes off commercially, because growing it in pond or recirculated aquaculture systems like tanks and marine cages would provide much more volume than the hydroponic systems. That's my
sir, good
view.
evening, sir.
Uh,
My name is Anil from
Thank you, sir.
BVRIT, Hyderabad. Sir, my
Anil, can you
question.
please be louder? Anil?
My name is Anil from BVRIT College, Hyderabad. nowadays getting labor is difficult task to any farmer or in any field. Using of drone is effective in aquaculture for collecting fishes instead of going labor into the field. Using of drones or UAVs in collecting fishes.
Okay. See, when I came into aquaculture, this is the kind of a first scientific project or science project that I had in my mind also, Anil. So I wouldn't hide that. Okay, but since I'm into the industry for about 4 years right now, so if you ask me that question right now, I would kind of not go for it for the practical and capital reasons. So I'll tell you, like in those farms, people used to call them feed boys. So the feed boys are the one that would take the feed and then they throw the feed into the water, right? So like we are asking them, why don't you replace the feed boys with auto feeders? So auto feeders are something uh, like it'll kind of there'll be a drum, it'll keep throwing the feed around.
Yes, sir.
And they're
In our
saying like
college, one project is done like in our college we done one project like fish feeder, automatic fish feeder, not by our team but other teams.
so yeah, this is auto feeder. Even the auto feeder adoption in the farm is also minimal because they are not able to afford it. So they are saying, sir, I am going to pay this, feed boy 10,000 rupees per month. He is going to, maintain some 15 ponds of mine. And for this auto feeder machine, I still need a feed boy. And this is actually regulating the feed. So that is the only difference. So I will not go for auto feeder even. So that is when the auto feeder adoption is less than 2% right now in the farms. So now you are talking about a further technology that is drone, which needs to be, charged very frequently and maintained. And what if there is a, high wind that happens and it needs to, carry a 15 kg bag or 20 kg bag. So it's kind of, we are complicating this a bit more. So in case, see, I'm not discouraging this, but if you are able to, come up with a low cost solution, which is workable in the field, there would be takers who would do that.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Good
sir.
afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I am Mr.
Hi,
Asriva
sir.
Sahu from. Good afternoon, sir. I am Mr. Asriva Sahu from CET, Bhubaneswar, Odisha. My question is that how to keep a track on fish health, because in most of the fisheries, the productivity mostly depends upon the fish health and disease. So how to keep on a track on that thing using the advanced technologies?
Ashirbat, can you please ask your question once more?
Sir, my question is that how to keep a track on the fish health and diseases, because most of the fish sector and production depends on the fish health, and because due to the fish health, most of the farmers are not able to maintain their productivity level. So how do they increase that level using the IoT and robotics and other such technologies?
Sure. So you were talking about how to upkeep the fish health so that healthier fishes, it will give you a better harvest, right? To
Yes.
make the fish healthier, the first thing, as I told you, you need to upkeep the pond water quality. So it needs to have the right salinity. It needs to have the right alkalinity, right amount of dissolved oxygen. The ammonia has to be very, very low. So the moment there is more ammonia, it's going to, reduce the oxygenation of the water. So these are something that will keep the animal less stressed, right? So when you are keeping the environment less stressed, the animal is healthier. So that is a general, way of things work. And then there is an external infection. So for those external infections, you need to do a predictive maintenance. Like we say that like once in every 2 weeks, you need to, take out the samples and then you need to, do the preventive, maintenance of that. So the moment you act well in advance so that you would be able to mitigate the loss of the crop. So that is how you would be able to upkeep the animal health.
Okay, sir. Sir, I have another question that is, as you all know about the Farmozo app by the Aqua Connect. Sir, how do the Farmozo AI Connect app is working? I mean, how it helps the farmer?
Okay. So to enable any decision making system, let's say like here we are using artificial intelligence as a decision making system. So we need the right data sets that is coming from the farm, right? So we would require the water quality reports from the farmers. We would require feeding pattern from the farmer, and we would also require the animal health reports from the farmers. So the moment you have all these things, the machine learning can kick in, and it can advise you based on the contextual information that we are getting. So this can help you provide the right feeding schedule also, right? So it can tell you automatically that you can reduce the feeding or you can increase the feeding based on the animal health. And also it can tell you the ammonia concentration in your pond is high, so use this product so that like you can bring down the ammonia concentration down. And in this regular intervals, use probiotics. So these are the products that use probiotics. So with the right data sets that we are getting from the farms, we would be able to give n number of solutions using the machine learning.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. This is Shanmugh from JNTU. Hello.
Hi,
Sir, am I
Shanmugh, can you please be louder?
Yes, sir. Sir, this is Shanmugh from JNTU Hyderabad. So, as you have said, the export industry is making billions of money. India is, as a population, is very diversified, and there is significant amount of vegetarians as well. So, do you think the reason for this is the number of vegetarians in India, or is there any other reason? What's your take on this?
Okay, Shanmugh, on the contrary to the common belief, right? We are a non-vegetarian nation, like except a few parts of India. If you're talking about Andhra Pradesh, the proportion of vegetarian, non-vegetarian would be like 96 to 4%, 4% vegetarian, right? But when you talk about the meat preference, India prefers chicken first, right? The white meat first, because it's easily available. You don't need to clean the fish. I mean, fish is a bit a specialty one, like it's only consumed in the regions and like near the Gangetic plains, or wherever there is a river, or wherever there is a coastal line. So the meat preference for India is like, first preference would be chicken, and the second would be something like a goat or lamb. And the seafood comes last for two reasons. One, due to the cold storage, lack of cold storage, we are not able to take the fishes from the coast like to the interior lands. To do that, it is perishable, right? See, you can take a live chicken or you can take a live goat to 200 kilometers, nothing happens to it, and then you can butcher it and you can sell it. But for fish, you are taking it dead, and you cannot travel 200 kilometers without ice. So these are the shortcomings that we have. But among urban customers, the fish is actually gaining a lot of traction. So to be able to improve our consumption, we need to improve our cold storage chains. Shanmugh, does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it does. It does. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. My name is Anmol Gupta. I'm from CCT Chandigarh. I just want to know that what works can we do through aerator?
What?
What
I
works
understood
can we
about
do?
aerator.
Yes.
No, I heard aerator, but I do not understand your question.
What works can we do with it?
Okay, what improvements can we do with that? Is that your question?
Right.
Okay, so see, aerator is nothing but it improves the dissolved oxygen in the water. So in simple terms, we have got these paddle aerators and we have got the bubble aerators. So these are the two types that I have mostly seen. So the paddle aerator is the most popular one. So what it does is like it kind of, it throws the water out of the pond and it kind of takes the oxygen and it brings down the oxygen so that the pond dissolved oxygen increases. And there is like a bubble aerator, which, is, deep in the water, which kind of, produces the bubbles. So these are the two ways this is done. So if you would like to, look into the, what can be done, like we can, look at, automating these kind of aerators based on the dissolved oxygen level. So there are some research activities that's been going on, and there are some products also available, but they're not really popular right now. But if you are able to, offer a low cost product, which can, sense the, dissolved oxygen level in the water, and it can automatically control the aerator. So that could be one of the technology innovation that we can, consider. And if you can, reduce the power consumption of these, aerators, that could also, save farmers more money on the power bills.
Okay,
Good
sir.
evening, sir.
Thank you. We will sure come with the result.
Hello, sir.
Good
Sir,
evening,
this is
sir. This is
Pabashra.
Aryan.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, hi.
This is Pabashra
Very well.
Malak. Hello. Can somebody
I could
confirm?
hear you very well. Go ahead.
Okay, this is Pabashra Malak from
Malak,
Heritage Institute. I think there's some issue. Can you hear me? Can
I
somebody
could hear
confirm?
you. So this is what I'm saying.
Okay, so this is Pabashra Malak from Heritage Institute of Technology, and I have a question related to Sundarbans. Like recently in West Bengal, there was cyclone. Yes, and previous year there was a cyclone Amphan which drastically affected Sundarbans, and the only means of survival over there is agriculture and mangroves and fisheries. Uh, but due to saline water and all the like damages which has happened over there, like Sundarban has been affected drastically. So, do you have any alternative or sustainable strategy for that?
Okay, so I think this question can go both to Punit and me. So I will try to answer from my end. There are some examples how Punjab and Haryana have turned their non-arable land, saline lands, into shrimp ponds. So it isn't common to see aquaculture activities happening in Punjab and Haryana, but in some pockets they have developed close to 2,000 acres of shrimp ponds because they were not able to do agriculture there, right? So if a land is turning saline, there is a way we can grow shrimp from there. So that could be one of the livelihood opportunities that people can access.
Okay, sir. And for mangroves, like mangroves protect the Sundarban Island from the cyclone and all stuff. So, is there any strategy to protect that island because soil erosion is happening very fast? So the island is almost washing away.
Okay. Saba, like it's a bit of see. I'm there are two things. One, I'm no expert in this, and two,
Yes, sir.
there is a bit of a controversial thing that is going on between aquaculture and the depletion of mangrove forest. So what government has done that is in those regions where mangrove forests are there, they have not licensed the aquaculture activities, right? They are saying don't go near to the mangrove forest because the feeding that you are providing it to the animal is kind of going into the waters of mangrove, and then it is also accelerating the depletion of mangrove forest. So this is a bit of a controversial issue wherein I don't have much of expertise to provide answers on that question.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Good evening, sir.
Sir,
This is
this is
Aryan.
Sakshi.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. This is Aryan from JNTU Mechanical Engineering.
Aryan, can you give Sakshi a chance because she has been
That's
trying
fine. Okay,
quite
sir.
some.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm Sakshi from MIT Pune. And I had a question regarding the fisherman vehicle which they use. Like they take IC engine motors while fishing. So I wanted to ask if it would be, if it would be better if like we could convert those motors to electric and they could probably use those uh, because I read an article like a couple of days ago regarding this.
Sakshi, I believe that could be the future, right? So, but I'm just wondering what is the kind of timeline for that future. It could happen in like see now our automobiles are turning into electric, but the adoption is slow in India, as you would know. And you're talking about fishing boats to be changed to EV. So I do see that that's happening, but not in the near future. So that's my take on that.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Hi, sir.
Evening, sir. I am Devashish Pradhan from VSSUT Burla, Odisha. Sir, I have read an article regarding that in India it is illegal to cultivate some types of fish like magur and catfish. So, sir, what is the reason behind this? Is it due to the health issues while consuming it, or anything different?
Okay, there are some biodiversity issues. If you are going to a foreign country or if you are coming from foreign country, at the customs, they would always check whether you have like dairy product, whether you have some plants, whether you have some seeds. So the same way, whether if you have um, uh, Aryan, next is you. Okay, I will get you the chance. So that way, to protect the biodiversity, the government is actually banning certain species, right? So that is more to do with the environmental policy of the government, and I don't think that is to do with the dietary habits of this country.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So I would request Aryan now.
Yeah.
He's been trying for some time.
Good evening, sir. This is Aryan from JNTU at Sultanpur, College of Engineering, Sultanpur. Sir, you have said that you provide free services or guidance to farmers, right? I would like to know how your company, AquaConnect, generates revenue. Do you have any subscription plans or anything?
Okay, it's very simple because when a farmer is getting scientific advisory from us, so we would be able to provide leverage, get leverage on the data that we are getting. So with that data, we are now selling inputs to them, inputs to the farmers at a low cost. So that is the kind of incentives that they would be getting. And also they are getting financial service at a very low interest. And third point, they are getting market access. So while we are not able to generate revenue from the scientific advisory, we would be able to upsell and cross-sell other services that the farmers may want. So that is how we make our revenues.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Hello, sir. Yeah, question is, so can you hear me?
Abhishek, can you please mute yourself? There are people who have raised hands. I think we can go in that sequence. Like if somebody want to ask a question, Raj, we will just take 5 more minutes. I understand it's already time, so we'll ask. So Himanshu, you can unmute yourself and ask question. I saw that you have raised your hand.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Good evening, sir. I'm Himanshu, a final year chemical engineering undergrad from Institute of Engineering and Technology, Lucknow. My relative had a pond in village in which he used to keep fishes for selling and all. I heard that at multiple occasions the fellow villagers would poison the water or put some medicine in that such that fish would die as a professional, how would have you solved and tackled that issue? Because a lot of loss was conquered by him.
Himanshu, we wouldn't be able to do anything about this because this is a human greed. So I don't know whether technology can, find a solution for human greed. So see, once you poison the water, you poison the water. So you won't be able to do anything about it. It's more to do with the security of the pond. And sorry, I don't have any answer for that.
Yeah. Thank you, Raj.
Sir.
Yeah. Sai, you can ask your question, please.
Hello, sir. I'm Pratyusha from Andhra Pradesh.
Hi,
Hello.
Pratyusha. Hi,
So,
Pratyusha.
so you have said about data-driven decision systems. So, and also that farmers has to input the data in the app. I would like to know the challenges of collecting the data in real time from the pond itself with automating the sensors and all. That's my question, sir. Thank you.
It's a very relevant and a very complex question, Pratyusha. So the first point, automating the sensors in the pond, right? So we are talking about a kind of a pond with a high turbidity, with a high dirt, right? So we're talking about a 6 feet pond, wherein you won't be able to see the pond bottom, right? So there is a high turbidity. Like whatever optical sensors that you put in the water, that requires frequent maintenance of that. And we need to know, we need to make sure whether the farmer would be able to, do that. So in most cases, that kind of an optical sensor fails. It needs to be recalibrated and requires a lot of technical assistance to be done. And also one device that's been used in one probe that is used in one pond cannot be taken to the another pond because of the biosecurity. If there is any disease in this pond, it can also go to the another pond. So that is why you need to have a set probe in one pond, and that needs to be maintained very often. So this is when IoT is not taking off. So sensoric instruments are not working, IoT is not doing good. So what we are trying to do is we are going Indian way. So even our app is not going to ask you questions like you put this into this field. No, what we are trying to do is we have created a Slack channel for you, something like Slack, so that if you want to record something, record it. If you want to take a picture of like feed chart, you take it. So in the backend, we are machine learning to convert that graphic, text, whatever it is, into data, and then we are trying to make sense of that, and then trying to provide suggestions to the farmers. So this is what we are trying to do right now. So it is a very complex problem to solve, and maybe we are at like 30% or 40% of it.
Well, thank you, sir. That answers what it is from prototype to the actual project. So we created a smart aerator which takes the dissolved oxygen levels to automate the aerator. So that changes the whole overview of the things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ishita, you can ask the question.
Good evening, sir. My name is Ishita and I'm from NIT Hamidpur. My question is, how resilient are India's freshwater aquaculture systems under changing climate scenario?
Can you please elaborate that question?
So basically, the aquaculture is influenced by the climate. Like the fishes, they need the adequate amount of temperature to survive. So we have seen that the climate change is happening and it is at its peak these days. I mean, it is gonna increase. So how will the aquaculture industry cope with it?
Okay, so this is a very interesting question. I have never come across this before. Associating climate change with fish aquaculture. See, I one thing that I see right now is like it is in a controlled environment we are growing. So in a pond we are growing, as you would know. And there are efforts that this can be grown indoors also. So there are these recirculated aquaculture systems that are coming in, which will kind of in turn reduce the spatial requirement for a farm. So if you want to create a fish farm near Bombay, the cost of land would be very expensive. So like you would be able to go for a recirculated aquaculture system which is indoor, which can reduce your cost of culture. And in a way I can connect that with the climate change that you're talking about. So if there is a kind of huge impact by climate change, then we will be able to go indoors with these systems. So which is kind of highly hypothetical at this moment for me, but maybe that could be one of the solutions.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Somit, your turn now.
Hello, good evening to respected people. I have two questions. First question is to Raj sir. What is the waste management process when it comes to fisheries, like we've seen in agriculture sector? What is it over here?
See, I'm sorry to say this, there is zero process for ETP, effluent treatment plant. So, by law, when you are going for a regulation, every aquaculture farm has to have a ETP, effluent treatment plant. But in reality, we don't see much of them. So that's something that we need to work on.
My second question is to Puneet sir. In the beginning of this year, we've seen the riots from the farmer side. In spite of the presence of FPO movement, what was the reason these farmers came against the government?
I think let's not ask these kind of questions. Probably, but Puneet, you are the right person to judge.
Dheeraj, Punit is not around, I believe. Is he?
No, he's there. He's there. I think I can see him. Puneet, are you there? Can you speak some?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful. Yeah.
So it's very intriguing question, I would say. So, see, there are farmers who are protesting now because of new farms law and perhaps new regulation regarding contract farming and other things. But as far as FPOs are concerned, they understand how market works and what is actually required. So there, I would say there is a divided opinion what farmer actually want from the government. There are farmers who are protesting that we don't need contract farming and other things, and there are FPOs, and I belong to, I would say, this the second category. We are more in favor of market-led economy, but with better facility and better incentives from the government. So I won't go much into the details that what are the pros and cons of each sector, but farmers, it is very complex situation in farmer that if something favors the farmer in Punjab and Haryana, it goes against the farmers in Bihar and Odisha and other parts. So it's very policy wise, it's very complex situation, to very difficult for me to answer actually.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Dheeraj, while I was speaking, I got a lot of questions texted to me. Like that is like on the chat, there were like many questions. In case if still somebody has got some question, I do have time. Please, like they may be permitted to do that.
Sir, good evening, sir. I am Asirvad Sahu from CET Bhubaneswar. Sir, my question is that which irrigation process is the more effective one, the surface irrigation or the subsurface irrigation process?
Sorry, we haven't done, I personally haven't done any research on that. But what I can tell you from my experience is the surface aeration is really popular because of its kind of usability and affordability. So it's easy to maintain them. So in terms of efficiency, I do not know. I can't comment about it. If you are really looking for some data points on that, I can connect you with guys who would be able to help you with that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Mano, we are done with the hand raising thing, but in case you find something in the chat messages, if something you want to reply to, you can.
Let me let me quickly go.
Puneet, you can also browse through the chat messages if you find some
Okay,
question for you.
certainly.
Okay.
Okay, somebody has Muskan has asked me how did I get this idea. I think it was at 4:12, so I think I have already covered that. It was effective. I think we have answered most of the question, I guess, Dheeraj.
Yeah, fine. Then I think really I want to thank both you and Puneet. You really, actually, it was very intriguing session for me as well, because there's so much that we can do. People who know at least the technology and how they can intervene to the agriculture fields and fisheries, we can do wonders. We can really make our farmers wealthy, I think, in some years to come. So I'm really looking forward to students to give inputs in the next 2 months that they are going to work on different projects. So yeah, I think I'm really thankful both to you and Puneet for sparing time and giving such a wonderful overview of everything. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks to you for this opportunity, Dheeraj. I am speaking to the students after a very long time. I'm really I really enjoyed speaking with them. My only ask to them is to explore fisheries as a kind of a viable career as well, because I don't see much of a talent pool that is eyeing fisheries. So now they have slowly have come into agri-tech, but in terms of aquaculture technology, there aren't many folks who are focusing their research into it. So I would really encourage you. And in case if you wish to get in touch with me, I'm on LinkedIn, and you can reach out to me there. Thank you, and thanks for listening, I would say, for this all this while.
Thank you very much, and thanks from my side too. It was fabulous being with the students, and I learned a lot about aquaculture as well. I was listening all the information, which was very, interesting to me. So, all the very best to everyone, and look forward to more session where we can again get together and exchange more ideas. Good luck, everyone, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Raj and Mr. Puneet, for such a wonderful and an interactive session with the students. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Raj. Thanks to you. A lot of thanks to you, Raj, as well. Yeah.
Thanks, Puneet. We shall be in touch.
Yes, sure.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye then. So we are closing the today's session. Actually, the kids have been given homework to write a 2 hours of lecture, 200-word essay out of the discussion that they have done. So they have to submit it before 9 p.m. So probably they will be busy there. I think, Puneet, that's the day from your talk. This. Yeah. So thank you, Puneet. Thank you again. So.
Just in case any student require any information or has any question left, they can ask.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Is there any question for someone?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Pranav is here.
Okay, yeah, please.
I'm Pranav Anand from Kumaraguru College of Technology, studying third year mechanical engineering.
Sorry, I think Mr. Puneet has left. He has given his phone number and website there. So in the chat messages, so you can probably follow him there. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, guys. All the best. So, Dharmendra, we can close the session. YouTube live also.
A question to Dheeraj sir for